Good afternoon. Just finished practice 5. Been good so far. It's third day kind of in our half pads. Tomorrow we'll get to put on full pads and still evaluating a ton of guys, and that's kind of what we're doing right now. All our install offense, defense, looking at our younger guys, looking at new guys, especially ones that just arrived here in the summer, as well as the kids that are redshirt freshmen that have kind of been in the program a little while. So it's a work in progress, so I'm sure you guys got a few questions. Let's take them.
Obviously, on paper, you're a little bit more explosive on offense this year. Has it kind of played out that way so far in practice?
Yeah, you can see that we have a lot of good team speed, and credit Coach True and Coach Ray and the strength staff, because our kids are fast. We've got really good speed now. We just got to make sure that we find ways to get them the ball and design some things to make sure that the touches go around. But yeah, we've got pretty good team speed on offense.
The new pieces you want to kind of make a move on the offensive line, are they surging right now?
Yeah. Well, Sam Heck's probably got the most important one. They're all important, but the fact that he's the center, he's touching the ball every play, and had a really good summer, and I think he's off to a really good start. It helps when you've got TP and Hadley next to him and Carver outside, but some of those guys are coming along, and we're continuing to develop some depth there as well.
How big of a difference has it been to have extra coaches on the field this camp?
Huge difference in the fact of, you can split up a lot of things. We can have, we got 3 different positions at safety. Really, we can have 3 different guys coaching. Having Coach Katz and utilizing his expertise. Katzer as a special teams guy, and so he and I and Clint Brown are doing a lot of special teams work, and having Drew Little come back. It was a really good time for us to get Drew back, because he's one of the top O-line coaches, and it gives Riles, I think, an opportunity to go move around and watch some different pass game 7-on-7 stuff. But it's been fun not to worry about it and just let guys go coach.
Is there anybody who you're willing to say has caught your eye and impressed you through a couple days of camp?
Yeah, it's so hard right now, because we without going to the ground, without pants on, we just kind of stay up on everything. There's some young guys that are continuing to get better. We've talked about this. We've had a really good redshirt freshman class that some of those kids are true sophomores, the Jason, the Avery, but the kids we redshirted, there's several defensive linemen, some DBs, some tight ends that are doing some good things. So I know that's something that we're excited about, because we talked about it as a team. There's a lot of guys that people know about, everybody knows about, that are playing for K-State, but there's a lot of guys that only people in our room, in our building, kind of know about, and you guys will know about pretty soon, because they'll get a lot of snaps out there.
Can you expand a little bit on those young defensive ends and what you're seeing from them?
Cheedy, Ryan Davis, Jordan Allen are the first 3 that come to mind as far as all guys that redshirted last year. We've got Mott and Stuff back, which is awesome to have those guys back. Throw in Travis Bates that we got this year. We have a lot of depth there, so we're trying to find different ways to get some guys on the field. But, Cheedy is bigger than the other 2. Maybe by 15, 20 pounds. He's playing a little bit different position. I think Coach Wyatt's done a really good job with those guys, because they have a different skill set. One of them may play the run better than the pass. Somebody may have a better pass rush. We need to steal a lot of snaps from those guys. Those guys can't just be auxiliary players. They've got to be really consistent role players that are going to get 15 to 30 snaps a game based on how the game plan goes and what kind of offense we're facing. But I'm excited, because we have a lot of depth and a lot of talent in that room.
Tackle position.
Damian and Uso are the guys that are taking a lot of snaps, obviously, that have taken a lot of snaps for us. I think Damian, his late season push when Uso was hurt, I think has given him a ton of confidence, and he's playing at a really high level. He learned so much from Eli in the past. And then Asher Tomaszewski's done a nice job coming in as a guy that we think can be a third. We're still learning about some of the true new guys that have come in here at D tackle.
Also, is Sam Heck pretty set at center right now?
Yeah, Michael Capria is doing a really good job. Cap is progressed really well, and we feel like we have depth there. Sam's got a little bit more game planning experience, but right now Sam's doing a really good job, but I like what Cap's doing too.
Linebacker-wise, obviously Austin and Dez are pretty set there. That third guy, who are some of the people that are fighting that out?
Bo Palmer and Austin Romaine are playing inside. Alec Marenko is a kid we brought in, been a little bit slowed by an injury, so he's missed a little bit of time, but he'll be a part of that mix as well. Asa Newsome back healthy really is good. Asa's at full speed rolling around. Rex Van Wy, Zach Wittenberg are doing a really good job at that will linebacker spot. And we've got some young guys that we're evaluating and looking at, but I'm excited. Terry Kirksey's a guy that has really done a good job of learning from that first year where it's hard to come in here and figure it all out. And the game has slowed down for Terry quite a bit. And whether it's as a role player at linebacker or on special teams, Terry's earned some opportunities. And so that's what's, when Terry's gotten better, Zach Wittenberg's gotten better, Rex Van Wy's gotten better, get Asa healthy back. If we can stay healthy at linebacker, we can keep those top guys fresh and healthy and ready to go.
And as far as Dylan Edwards is concerned, what's impressed you most since he's gotten on campus?
Just the fact that he's got that burst, and he can looks like he shot out of a cannon at times. I mean, you see him, and he's just got that quick feet and that burst through the hole. Still learning offense. There's a lot of offense to learn, and we're trying to spoon feed him a little bit so that he can pick up as much as he can, learning from DJ. Been impressed with LeJames White that's been in the program a while. LeJames is doing some really good things. It started to really slow down from him from a mental standpoint, and LeJames can provide us a spark. Joe Jackson's been healthy, so it's good to have Joe giving us some looks, as well as Devon Rice and Evan Cantu. So we've got some good guys at running back, so it's just a matter of kind of plug and play based on what the game plan is and skill sets of guys.
For the guys behind Avery, how is that battle for
it's been
2
good.
and 3 going?
Taquan Roberson's been a really good acquisition for us as a mature guy. That's an older guy that is learning our offense. The game keeps slowing down for Jacob Knuth. Been really impressed with Jacob as his continued growth. I thought he did a really good job in the spring when we didn't know a lot about him because he was our scout team guy, and did a really good job in the spring, and then did a lot of things on his own this summer. And I think his improvement has been really good. I feel good. We're not at all close to saying who's going to back up Avery. That's going to take quite a long time for us to get it figured out. But I've been impressed with both guys. Both guys could help us.
I feel like I ask this about every year now, but you always come off a win. There's excitement in the air regarding this team. Mm-hmm. What kind of momentum do you guys have entering the season?
That momentum's over with. I mean, really. I mean, what we did in the winter and the spring and the summer. Credit True Carroll and our strength staff, and then our support staff with athletic training, with Scott Troush and nutrition. Those guys are the ones that get them ready throughout this summertime as coaches are meeting with them a little bit, but either recruiting or getting away a little bit. Our support staff is second to none. Our support staff gets these guys ready, as well as the leaders on each group. And so that's kind of been the challenge for us to the guys is, there's excitement. There's really good momentum from the end of the season and excitement of maybe expectations. But, forget about the expectations, man. Just go about your business daily and stack day after day after day. Don't talk about championships. Don't talk about what we can be. Let's talk about what we can be today. And I think our older guys have really bought into that and really done a good job, and it helps when we have really good equal competition offensively and defensively. We haven't gone any live sets for me to say, boy, the offense won today or the defense won today, but there's really good competition on both sides, and they push each other. And that's what we've got to continue to have, is guys push each other on a daily basis.
To that end, just what kind of energy, effort are you witnessing on a daily basis?
Yeah, really good. We've had great practices, and we've had 5 is all. There's always that great excitement those first 2 days when it's helmets and jerseys, and then all of a sudden we put the pads on. Guys get to be a little bit more sore, but they've bounced back each day and been ready to go out there. Now we're 5 practices in. We've got a long ways to go in fall camp, and if we can keep that energy and that excitement and that ability to realize, what I did yesterday is nothing. I got to go attack today, and that's kind of what we're focused on right now. I thought we had a good practice out there today. It was physical. Guys were flying around. We've got to continue to do a good job of communicating, especially the guys that have been around here, of continuing to be nonstop chatter of what they see pre-snap on both sides of the ball. We got to get some of those other guys that are going to play a significant role to open up a little bit more, because we're going to need those guys to understand what we're doing to be able to communicate.
I was going to ask you about the corners. Everybody knows you have Keenan back and Jacob, but it seems like you've got other guys there that can help you pretty quickly.
Yeah, and let's hit Keenan and Jacob, because those guys are both close to 200 pounds. And that's crazy to think what those guys came in, and Keenan was a wide receiver and Jacob was a smaller corner from Olathe North, and both those 2 kids are pushing 200 pounds. They're plus 195 for sure, and I know they've both touched 200, and they're faster. And that's probably the neat thing for me, is they've gotten faster as they've gotten bigger and stronger. So plus they've had tons of reps and experience. Justice James is in that boat with Terry Kirksey and LeJames White. It's slowing down so much for him that he played a lot of football for us last year, but we're more and more comfortable with him being right now that third guy. It is a big battle for that 4th spot, and that 4th spot's going to play a lot for us as we get into some nickel and dime things based on personnel. So whether it's Jordan Dunbar, Kenigel Thomas, Donovan McIntosh, there's a lot of guys there that are taking some of those reps, and we've got to make sure that they can take legitimate game reps to take some off of those 2 top guys, as well as be the guy when we go to nickel and dime.
I was going to ask you, too, about Jordan Riley. You always seem to have a guy who, is a plug-and-play guy out of the portal, and it seems like he's just a real fit for you.
Yeah, we've been really fortunate and done some really good things evaluating not only talent but vetting the right type of guy coming out of the portal, from Rush East to Julius Brents, to Josh Hayes, to Reggie Stubblefield. There's so many of them, and now we've got Jordan Riley that once again came in here in the spring, so he got a lot of experience under his belt, played a ton of snaps at Ball State, but now he's learning our defense, learned it in the spring, has become one of the better vocal leaders we have in the secondary. And when you throw VJ Payne, that is a really good vocal guy now, always has been, but he's really a lot more confident, and Jordan Riley and Marquise Siegel, you got 3 guys that are older guys that are really good football players that can really run the show back there.
Switch back to Kirksey for a moment. Is it the same today as it was 6, 7, 8 years ago when a guy comes from the JUCO ranks to this level? I know he was a little bit beat up last year, but is he a guy that has all those tools?
Yeah, I guess the difference from 6 to 7 years ago is if they didn't play their first year, they probably left, right? And 6 to 7 years ago, they found a way to fight through it and learn what they're doing. And credit to Terry, because he struggled last year mentally of picking it up. Plus, he was banged up a little bit, had a hamstring, had some other things. So we never could really see the kid that we knew we saw when we watched film and saw him live in junior college. And he stayed the course. And he's a wonderful kid. I love Terry because He loves football. He's locked in. He loves the guys at K-State. He listens to Austin, listens to Dez, and he'd slowed down for him, and now he's playing a lot faster and playing with confidence. And there's a guy that said, I'm not listening to the outside noise, so to speak, and say, man, I'm not ready yet. And then he worked his butt off, and he's going to help us this year.
You were asked a couple moments ago about, is there somebody you want to mention already in terms of guys that are standing out?
Yeah.
A little twist to that. Is there a guy or two that's really intriguing to you right now, that whether they've taken that quantum leap or you're like, maybe it's 3 or 4 games in that this might be one of those guys?
Yeah. I think, gosh, I'm the first guy in the press conference, and everybody else gets to go after we've had more and more practices, because it's so hard after 5 days. It really is. Keegan Johnson is a guy that we can keep him healthy. I think he's one of the best wide receivers in the Big 12, and our staff knows that as well. He continues to improve. Keenan Garber's another one that everybody knows he started and that stuff, but it wasn't that long ago the kid played at corner after playing wide receiver for 16 weeks, and he's playing in a Big 12 championship. And now you see all that work that he did in 23. The kid's a really confident corner, and glad he came back for another year. He's just a really confident guy going into his last year. Fitch, you've never moved that fast. Oh, that's true. Vegas.
This better be a good question. Special teams, I know bringing in Coach Katzer, but also where do you think you can make the most improvements there?
Well, we're excited that Chris Tennett's back, and Chris has tremendous leg strength, is a confident guy, is the leader of that room, and it took him forever to be the leader of that room because Randon was here for 9 years. But now Chris is being able to lead that group. We are wide open right now at punter. Tegan Cobb, Simon McClanahan, and Tegan are going to battle it out. Leighton Simmering's done a really good job as a kicker and gives us really good depth there, and can probably kick some field goals, and we got to make sure and keep Chris fresh, and so Kat's coming in has helped those guys, because we've always had a special teams guy with me that has been the overall special teams guy. Now we've got somebody that's a specialist coach as well that can deal with long snappers, punters, and kickers, as well as see the whole approach from all 4 units. And it's so fun to sit in this meeting room in the morning with him up front talking about special teams, and he's done it at the highest level and been a special teams coordinator in the NFL for a number of years, that what he's saying these guys are listening to, because there's so many of them that have that aspiration to play at that next level. And he keeps harping on, unless you're a first-round guy, you're going to play on special teams. And whether or not we use you on special teams, the more you can be a sponge and learn these techniques and learn the terminology and learn what we're doing, you're going to have an opportunity to stick in a camp if you're a free agent guy or a late-round draft pick because of special teams. And it's been fun to see the older kids really gravitate to that, to say, man, it's a packed room like it always is, and there's a ton of notes being taken because he's lived it and he's helping those guys.
How about in the return game? Who are some guys?
Yeah, we're trying to figure out between Dylan, between Sterling, between Jace, between Keegan, LaJames White. We've got a lot of different guys from a punt and kick return standpoint. Once again, we have not put that all together, meaning we're just doing drill work for those phases of it. But we got to find more than one. We've got to have multiple guys on both punt returns and kick returns. We just haven't gotten that far in the phases of it.
Any thoughts on the college game adding the 2-minute warning?
I think it'll be impactful as far as what you do with your timeouts and stuff. I think that will be, as far as, you're going to get that extra one, whether you need it on defense from a ability to stop the clock, or no, you're going to get it on offense, and you can. Everybody's so worried about all their timeouts all the time for good reason, that you don't want to burn one, but maybe you can if you have a bad situation that you have to get yourself out of, because you're going to get that extra one. And so it's something that's been a small piece of what we're working on right now for us through 5 practices. Man, it's the helmet communication. That's the number one thing that's out there. And I know we got tablets on the sideline and stuff. We're not close to being ready to practice that, but we're practicing. Coach Wells to the quarterbacks, Coach Kleinerman to the linebackers, and calling things out every day. And that's something that it's kind of learning on the run. We're visiting with a lot of NFL teams, but there's a lot of little tweaks in rules this year. But that's probably the biggest one for us that we can work on right now.
It's maybe too early to ask, but how comfortable is Connor Riley in his new role?
Rouse has been a football coach for a long time, so he's got really good comfort level. But I think it's every team is different. And when I was calling things as a defensive coordinator, man, you can have a philosophy of doing something, but if you're better in defending the run than you are defending the pass, if you're better as a blitz team, you may have to adjust. I think it's exciting to have the offensive staff that we have there to try to find ways to get the ball to different players, because we have a lot of guys that are going to need touches and need the ball, as well as not being able to just wear somebody out with it. So it's going to be a work in progress, but he's a great football coach, so he's just trying to figure out where our pieces are and how to get the ball to the playmakers.
Earlier when we talked about running backs, it sounded like you really liked your depth there. Mm-hmm. Ideally, would you like to get 4 or 5 different guys involved if they're ready for it?
We would like to. Everybody knows DJ's going to be the guy that is going to have the most carries right now. DJ's a great player, and we've done a nice job of giving him the reps that he needs and then kind of shelving him a little bit right now, because we need DJ fresh for the long haul of the season. And we need to continue to see where Joe and LeJames are at, because they've been in the program quite a while, as well as Evan. But getting those guys the reps to see what they can handle as an every down back. And then obviously seeing different areas that we can put Dylan in and not throw everything at him right away. Because he's new to the program in June, and just kind of find ways for us to utilize Dylan and keep it simple enough right now as he's learning our whole offense. It's a lot of offense to learn. I think he's doing a heck of a job right now, but then we'll start shrinking some things down once we get to game plan.
I wanted to ask about Andrew Line Gang. Where's he working in practice right now?
Liney's could play either guard right now or either tackle. We're keeping him inside right now as we continue to evaluate guys at guard, but he could play outside if need be. But some of the other guys that we want to see on the edges, we don't want to take those reps away from a John Pastore or an Easton Kilty, so we're keeping Liney inside. But he'd be the guy that could swing and do the most for sure.
What is going on at left tackle? How's the competition there?
I think we're going to see both guys play right now between Kilty and Pastore. They both need to play an awful lot. If it were playing tomorrow, it'd probably be a 50-50 deal. Let's see where it plays out. Let's see the health of both guys as we move forward. But I'm excited because we have that third tackle right now with one of those guys opposite of Carver, as well as Liney that could play a tackle or could spell anybody inside, because we could move Bubs inside the center if we had to and keep Liney at guard. We've got a lot of different combinations and we've talked at length about this, Coach Riley and I have, about making sure that and it'll help having Drew Little be on the sideline and Rouse being upstairs, of Drew being able to help us with some substitutions so that we get more guys in at O-line.
You answered my next question. Drew, how important is Drew Lytle right now?
He's really important because, especially with Rouse's new role, Drew's just like having a second full-time O-line coach. And when Rouse is going to the pass game, it's like having your first full-time O-line coach, because I've got a lot of trust in Drew. Been around Drew for a few years when I first started here, and then we were fortunate to get him back in the off season, and I think it made the transition easier for Drew. Just like it did for anybody else when they lifted that ban and everybody could coach, and Drew knew what Rouse's role is. It's a great opportunity for him to mesh with those guys as the O-line coach. So Drew's been a big help for him.
No, you're working on some different things on defense. You probably don't want to get into specifics, but are those moves trying to address kind of the rotation back towards running games in this conference?
More towards personnel groupings, as far as, we got a couple teams that we're going to play that are going to have a couple of tight ends all the time. We've got to get bigger when they do that, and then and that potentially is some opponents we haven't played, and then there's some other ones that are going to spread you out a little bit more and spin it around, where then we've got to get smaller actually and get more speed guys. So the depth where we thought we had more of an issue at linebacker and having more skilled kids in the secondary and more D linemen going into camp feeling better because of some of the names we talked about at linebacker of stepping up, which is just going to help all of our special teams, because we're going to be able to keep really good players and really fresh guys on teams.
Speaking of special teams, what are you looking at for the return specialists?
As a returner? Yeah. All those guys we talked about before, between Dylan and between Sterling, between Jace Brown, Keegan Johnson. There's a lot of guys, James White.
How is Dante kind of settled among the wide receivers?
Seif's doing a really good job. We've kind of kept it where he's playing more of an outside receiver, which has slowed the game down for him some. But Seif's played a lot of high-level football, and I think it helped a bunch having him around in the spring, and then he was able to pick up where he left off, and he keeps learning what we're doing. Once again, we do some things that we're trying to simplify so that we can get some of those guys. We can keep Seif, and we keep Spivey, and we can keep Keegan, and we can keep Jace and Sterling and Tybo and Andre Davis. There's a bunch of guys that we're trying to utilize more so that we can keep guys fresh as wide receivers and simplify it so they're not playing 2 and 3 spots.